and welcome everyone. Now we are going to discuss separation of components of air. As you all know, air is a homogeneous mixture and the components of air can be separated by fractional distillation. So let's see how we can separate the components of air. First, here this is oxygen, argon, nitrogen. So many gases are mixed together and different gases, noble gases are also there, and all the gases, they will be separated out by liquefaction in a fractional distillation depending on their melting point and boiling point. So let's take three gases here. So boiling point, these are in degree Celsius. So can you convert this in Kelvin? So oxygen will be 273 minus 183, that is 90 Kelvin. Now argon, 273 minus 186, that is 87 Kelvin. Now nitrogen, 273 minus 196, that is 77 Kelvin. Now let's see the process, how the components of air can be separated in fractional distillation. Since air is a homogeneous mixture, it is also colloidal mixture, so many impurities will be there. So first air is filtered and passed through the channel. Okay, when it reaches the chamber, it is compressed under high pressure and then cooled. They are again cooled by decreasing the temperature slightly below 0 degrees Celsius. So in fractional distillation, we have already studied that repeatedly the air is compressed and cooled. So the same process will be done here. So it will be again cooled at below 0 degrees Celsius. Now the liquefied gas will enter a chamber where carbon dioxide will come out in the form of solid dry ice at minus 78.5 degrees Celsius. Now what will happen after that? Again compression and cooling will take place, and now we will get the liquefied form of oxygen, argon and nitrogen gas. Now when we get the liquefied form, what will happen in the expansion jet? Slightly the liquid is warmed. When liquid is warmed, what will happen? Out of three, which has got the low boiling point? Definitely nitrogen. So at 77 Kelvin, the more volatile nitrogen gas will evaporate first and will be collected in a beaker or anything, in a separate flask. Now after nitrogen, argon, at 87 Kelvin, the argon will evaporate and will be collected separately. At 90 Kelvin, liquefied oxygen gas will be collected in a round bottom flask. So like this, we can separate the different components of air through fractional distillation. I hope this process is clear to you. Now we will discuss how can we obtain pure solid in the form of a crystal from a solution. For that, let's take one activity. We will take copper sulfate solution, CuSO4. Okay, take copper sulfate solution in a china dish. This is a china dish, and here you are taking copper sulfate solution. Approximately the quantity is 5 gram of copper sulfate. Now mix this copper sulfate in minimum amount of water. After that, with the help of filter paper, filter this solution and get a pure solution, because this will be impure copper sulfate. So when you will filter it, you will get a pure form of pure solution you will get. Let this solution get evaporate to get a saturated form of the solution. Okay, and keep this solution to cool this solution and keep it undisturbed for a day. And after that, what you will find? Now what you will do when you left it undisturbed for a day to cool, after that you cover it with a filter paper. After that you cover it with a filter paper. Next day when you will remove the filter paper, what you will find? You will find crystals of copper sulfate. These are the pure crystal of copper sulfate. This whole process is called crystallization. So this process is called crystallization, where the pure solid we get in the form of crystal from the solution through crystallization. I hope this activity is clear to you. To understand the difference between a pure substance and mixture, let us understand the difference between their physical and chemical changes. So, what are the physical and chemical changes? The property that can be observed and specified, like color, odor, rigidity, fluidity, density, melting point and boiling point, etc. All these are called the physical properties. Now in the interconversion of the state takes place in physical changes only. Means interconversion means maybe from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, gas to liquid or solid, like that. So these interconversion takes place in physical property, physical change. Physical change is also called as physical properties. Now although you can say although ice, water and water vapor, they looks different, means the physical appearance is different, but they have the same chemical change. There is no change in their chemical properties. Okay, all are same. Whereas if we will see the chemical change, like if you take example of ice and water and oil, both are liquid. Okay, but they are their chemical characteristic is completely different. How? We all know that oil burns in air, whereas water extinguishes fire. It is this chemical property of oil that makes oil different from water. So we can say burning is a chemical change. Like to be precise, we can say physical change is a temporary change, whereas chemical change is a permanent change. Physical change, the matter can be reversible, but in chemical change, the matters cannot be reversed. It's an irreversible change. In physical change, no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change, completely new substance is formed, and with that property only. So these are the physical and chemical changes. Like if we talk about burning of a candle, what type of change is it? Is it a physical change or a chemical change? Well, it is both the physical change and chemical change. Now you can ask me how? Because when burning of candle takes place, two things happen. First, the wax is melted. Second, the burning of thread and wax takes place. When wax is melting, that time it is a physical change, but burning of thread and wax is a chemical change. Now we can talk about naphthalene balls. naphthalene balls are kept inside the woolen clothes and cotton clothes and kept in the almirah. What happens after sometimes we will find that slowly and slowly the naphthalene ball starts disappearing. So this disappearing is what is happening there? Their sublimation process is taking place where the solid state of naphthalene balls completely changes into vapor. So when the state is changing, here the interconversion is changing of the state of the matter. So it is a physical change. Okay. Let's discuss few examples. Classify the following changes as chemical and physical changes. First is cutting of trees. So what do you think? What type of change it is? Yes, it is a physical change. Now melting of butter in a pan. That is also a physical change. Rusting of almirah. Rusting of almirah is a chemical change. Here we can take it as physical change also, because when rusting is taking place, the appearance also changes. So you can take it as physical and chemical both. Now passing of electric current, I haven't written full because place is not there. Passing of electric current through water. When electric current is passed, hydrogen and oxygen can be separated. So it is a chemical change. Now dissolving of salt in water. It is a physical change. Now making fruit salad with raw fruits. So raw fruit is cut into small pieces. It remains the same. So that is again a physical change. So these are the few examples of changes we can see in our day-to-day life. So I hope physical and chemical changes are clear to you. Okay, now we will see next topic we will take. Next is we have already. Now we will discuss about pure substances. Pure substances are classified into elements and compounds. What are elements? The basic unit of matter that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by any chemical reaction or any chemical process are called elements. What are compounds? We will see later. First we will talk about elements. Now elements are classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. So quickly we will see the properties of metals. Metals, most of the metals are solid. They have luster, means they have shine in their appearance. They are sonorous, means when struck hard or when hit with any hard substance, it makes a ringing sound. Okay, so they are sonorous. They are ductile. Ductile means they have the property to be drawn into thin wires. They are malleable, means it can be hammered and transformed into thin sheets. So these are the properties of metals. Most of the metals are solid, but mercury is the only metal which is in liquid state. Now let's come to non-metals. Non-metals are and one more thing, the color of metal is silver grey color or golden yellow color will be there. Okay, whereas in non-metals we will get a variety of colors. In non-metals they are not ductile, they are not malleable, means they can not be transformed or changed into thin wires or thin sheets. They are non-sonorous also. So these are the properties of non-metals. Like example, you can take as carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, etc. Most of the non-metals are in solid state as well as in gaseous state. Only except bromine. Bromine is in liquid state at room temperature. So bromine is the only non-metal which is in liquid state at room temperature. Let's talk about metalloid. Metalloid is the intermediate property between metals and non-metals. So examples are like boron, silicon, germanium. So these are the examples of metalloids. So these comes under elements. Now we will talk about compounds. Compounds are composed of two or more elements which combine in a definite proportion. Those are called compounds. Like suppose when we talk about H2O, here two molecules of H2O react with one molecule of oxygen to give one molecule of water to make one H2O. Like NaCl. Here one molecule of Na reacts with one molecule of Cl. H2SO4. Here two molecules of hydrogen reacting with one molecule of sulfur and reacts with four molecules of oxygen and forming H2SO4. So these are called compounds. Now it looks quite similar like mixture, right? So what are the difference between compounds and mixture? We will see. In mixture there is variation in the composition, means no definite proportion is there. Like here compound, you see two molecule of hydrogen react with only one molecule of oxygen. But in mixture, if we talk about mixture, so many can mix together. That is a mixture. No perfect, no definite proportion is there. Okay. So, and one more thing, in compound, when two elements react with each other, two or more elements react with each other, they form a new substance. A new substance is formed. Whereas in mixture, no such new substances are formed. Here, the properties of the constituents are seen. Whereas here, the property of the new substance is seen in the compound. So these are the few differences between compounds and mixture. So with this, I conclude the lesson. Thank you.